Hello everyone, good morning and thank you for joining us. It's been a while, right? I'm standing in for Uncle Yuri on the show this morning. Yesterday was International Day for Democracy and attention shifted to strengthening democratic resilience in the face of future crises. And when we talk about democracy, quite a number of things come to mind. For instance, the issue of delivering good governance, under which is government's primary responsibility of providing security and welfare to its people. As we speak right now, the issue of insecurity and economy is a big issue in Nigeria. Every single day you watch the news, there's someone being killed, someone abducted, there's a kidnapping taking place, and you look at the exchange rate is also not comforting. The fact that inflation is also on the rise, eating deep into the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. There's also many other issues to consider. For instance, adherence to the rule of law. Some years ago, we had a national conversation, or let me call it a national debate, as regards whether or not the rule of law takes a backseat for national security. Talking about government's onslaught against what we today know as banditry and terrorism. There are issues of credible elections, protection of basic human rights, and we'll be looking at quite a number of them today. I'm joined by a lawyer, a human rights activist, is also the former President Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, Olasupo Ojo. Good morning and thank you for finding time to come. Terrific. So last night we're having a conversation and someone had said on the news that there is a measure of success in successive elections. The fact that since 1999, we've had elections that have not been interrupted by military intervention. On the continent, we've had a couple of coups d'etat this year alone. And they are saying that perhaps that reflects that to an extent, democracy has come to stay in Nigeria. And some of these values are now being well entrenched. Do you agree with that?
Well, maybe to the extent that the people are tired of military rule. So they are prepared and they actually gave civilian rule opportunity to also demonstrate the alternative to military rule. And I think it has been a jolly good ride for civilians, for politicians, until recently when people begin to raise questions. And I think, yes, you may say that, yes, democracy has stayed longer than it used to be, without military intervention. And it has also been well established that the military does not even constitute a solution to any problem.
How do you mean?
Because when they come in, they always give us a list of reasons why they believe their intervention was necessary. But at the end of the day, we discover that they actually compound the problems.
So you're saying that the people have come into a place to know that those interventions really haven't solved any problems?
It has not solved any problem. That's why people now, the expectation was very high, that civilians will already have the opportunity. But from the beginning, there were also doubts, because some of the leaders produced by the so-called civilian democracy happen to be former military leaders too. And also the ground norm, the foundation of the entire the democracy was also dictated by the military. That is, the Constitution was also dictated by the military. So to that extent, there were doubts.
But you're not saying that there are still people who wear agbada over khaki?
Of course, even the current president wears agbada over khaki. Is a former army general, a former head of state, but a former army, a coup plotter.
According to him, he's a repentant Democrat.
A repentant Democrat. Yeah, that's what he said, but then it's in the mind. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do.
Well, let's talk about how the electoral system has evolved. Yes. In the last by-election, I think in Delta State, yes, INEC came up with BVAS, an electronic verification process. There are some who would say that INEC has done fantastically well. We've seen an improvement in the conduct. Kaduna, for instance, for some years now have been doing its electronic voting. Would you say that to an extent there's a measure of development in the conduct of the election? I know there are other issues that we'll talk about.
Yes, in the conduct of election, I mean, maybe we should give it to the INEC. Independent National Electoral Commission, they have been doing a yeoman's job. The environment is not that conducive for them, but they have been trying to see what best they can make out of the prevailing situation under which they operate. Even the legal environment for them is very hostile. Even the issue of electronic voting, people have challenged them every inch of the way to the court. Ordinary voters verification that they do electronically, it was taken to court by the political parties, not by the ordinary Nigerians, not by the political parties themselves. They are always challenging INEC every inch of the way. I have no problem with that. INEC must comply with the law. You understand? But what INEC has been trying to do is to advance the electoral system, to make it better, and most times they also propose amendments to the Electoral Act.
But not only political parties, there are also lawyers like you who would go to court to secure ex parte orders. Just recently, the CJN, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, called some judges and said, well, what's up with this multiplicity of orders? So there are some who would say that your colleagues have also contributed to, really causing all these embarrassing moments we've had with delay in the INEC's work. No,
our colleagues have not really been doing that. Lawyers stay in their office until somebody comes to them and say, I have a case, I want to sue so government or so
let me give an example. If someone comes to me now as a broadcast journalist and says, go on air with this story. There's a standard to which this job is done. So I say, I will need to balance it. Or I'll say, oh, this is not acceptable. Can't lawyers say that?
Incidentally, our job differs. Our job is not like yours. We use the law as it is. So when a client comes in and gives you a fact, his own story, you now look at what the law says. When you now discover there has been an infraction of the law, then there is a case.
So you're taking advantage of the loopholes in the law?
No, it's not advantage. They are actually assisting the law to be better implemented. That is, they are actually saying those in charge of execution of the law, they are not complying with this law. So let's go to court and be able to point it. You have to convince the courts.
Is that the case in areas where there are different court judgments as regards the candidate of a particular political party, to an extent to which INEC cannot even do his job?
Well, it is not that. Even the political parties, they have their own internal constitution. If there is non-compliance, any member of the party can challenge that. Not to talk of when there is no non-compliance with the laws, with the Constitution, with the Electoral Act, any member of those parties can also challenge such non-compliance in courts. And if you feel that the matter is so urgent that some injury that cannot be compensated will be done, if you delay, then you approach the court ex parte. And ex parte is legal. Under our law, it is provided for in our laws. But now it is up to the judges to determine whether the situation is truly urgent as to require an ex parte order. It is not the lawyer that grants the ex parte. It is the judge who will look at the entire facts and the surrounding circumstances and be able to conclude that, yes, this is a situation in which I need parties to take action immediately.
So you are putting this problem on the bench?
The bench, yes, there is not a problem for them, because that's what the law empowers them to do. But what I'm saying is that
the CJN summoned some judges recently.
Yes.
There must have been a problem.
Yes, the CJN summoning judges also have its own problems, because judges are supposed to do their work unhindered, without fear or favor. When the judge begins to be afraid that somebody is breathing down his neck and he may be summoned tomorrow, then he is not exercising his powers without fear. That is exercising that power under fear. And when the Chief Justice of Nigeria summons people to our judges to come and explain the records are there. Look at the records. Look at the order that has been made. And if any party feels that something untoward has been done, then the National Judicial Council, the NJC is there to oversee such discipline. And ex parte is being used almost on a daily basis by the government. The EFCC uses ex parte without even informing the person they have arrested. They will have frozen his account. They will have done a lot of things, and even to detain people for endless time. And it has happened even a sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria was removed with ex parte order that was not even applied for by any party in this country. So when people started shouting about abuse of ex parte, I laugh. Where were you all when it was abused earlier? You know?
So what's the solution to this issue?
I think it's it's a societal issue. And society, you know, there's this theory of conflict and consensus in sociology. Society will always continue that way. Society will grow based on their day-to-day experience. You understand? So there will always be there will be disagreements. There will be problems. But what matters is to be able to have means of resolving those problems without resorting to anarchy. And that's why you have the judiciary. Otherwise, politicians begin to kill themselves. So it's even good that they are approaching the courts.
I heard you a couple of days ago saying that Nigerians really do not have the power to elect their leaders, and that this power seems to have been hijacked by political parties.
I know.
What really what you say?
No, the power of the people to exercise their choice of leadership was taken away from them by the military, not by the politicians. It was taken away from the Nigerian people by the military in the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, which was imposed on Nigerians by the military. If the people have the opportunity to decide who is to appoint leaders for them, whether it is political parties alone, they must decide who you will vote for or not. Of course, the people may say, no, 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 we want to decide directly. Anybody who wants to contest for the presidency, let him come. We will be the ultimate decider.
How would they have decided without political parties? Are you suggesting independent
candidacy? That's what every other developed country does. That is, there are so many people in Nigeria who are not interested in joining any political party for whatever reason, even maybe based on...
Let me just hold you for a minute, sir. We're going to interrupt this conversation with a live intervention coming from Enugu. We're told that Southern governors are meeting at their end. This show will continue on every other platform. If you missed it on the platform you're watching now, you can watch it again later tonight. Stay tuned, please. Okay, so you were saying that I'm also looking at the reality behind this concept. Yes. Because how many leaders really have evolved through independent candidacy? In America, for instance, I know that there are provisions for independent candidates, but you hardly see a president emerge through that, because compare what he has with all the resources that the political parties are bringing on board. Yes,
yes. You will say that up to now, the president has not emerged from the independent candidacy. That doesn't mean it cannot happen.
I know.
I happened to experience it. I said so. I mean, in our local government, when there was independent candidacy in our laws under the UPN, the man won the local government independently, and he outperformed all the chairmen sponsored by political parties. You know, because he has no baggage, he has no burden on himself, and he was out to serve his people. He knew what the people's lack, and he was there to provide it. And he knew that it was the people that voted him in, not by the grace of any political party. So he wanted to show responsibility, to also encourage them, to let them know that your faith in me, I want to prove that you are correct.
Is a credible election possible under this current arrangement, particularly as we count down to 2023?
Yes, it is possible to the extent permitted by the 1999 Constitution, and to the extent permitted by the Electoral Act, and to the extent of the capacity of the Electoral Commission and the political parties, because they are the stakeholders. If the political parties decide to frustrate the electoral system, they can do it. They can do it, and they can also blackmail the Electoral Commission, you know. But I believe they are all in search of power. They want to capture power and to use it for whatever they believe in, as they have been doing since 1999 in any case. And I think they would rather allow the election to go on, and for it to produce one of the parties in governance. You know, I think that they will be better, and they have demonstrated that they prefer that.
Let's take a commercial break now. When we return, we'll continue with more of this conversation. Stay with us.
So all in favor say aye. Those against no, the ayes have it.
What do you know about the legislature, its role in governance, and as one of the three arms of government? Lagos Parliament is here to bring it to you as it is. Here to bring you every detail you need to know about the legislature in Africa's most populous city. On Lagos Parliament, you get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week. Events are critically reviewed. You can also observe plenary in Yoruba language. I am Abimbola Agbebi. Join me every Friday at 9 p.m. as I take you through the activities of the legislature.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
My guest today is a lawyer, human rights activist. He's also president, National Association of Democratic Lawyers. Olasupo Ojo, thank you so much for staying the course on the program today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the popular belief is that if we can get more people involved in the electoral process, if more Nigerians, for instance, register, go online, like INEC has given the provision, and decide in 2023 to go with a more reliable, formidable, a more prepared leader, that things would change. That perhaps the only reason why it is easy for, politicians to manipulate the process is voter apathy. Do you agree?
Is what?
Voter apathy.
Okay. Well, voter apathy is also a product of frustration on the part of the voters. Because when they go to vote, their expectation is always high. Always high. That things will change for the better in their lives. But after 4 years, they discover, or after 8 years, it's like a setback. Their expectations were not met. Those who try to sacrifice the time to go and vote in the past, they will say, look, don't bother yourself. At times, when they also see instances of vote manipulation, especially when parties go to court against themselves, and evidence is adduced in court about how votes were manipulated, then the people will then jump to the conclusion that our votes don't actually count. Then voter apathy sets in. That accounts for the dwindling number of voters. If you look at those who vote our leaders, vis-a-vis the percentage of the population of Nigerians,
There's a huge gap.
So what we are actually operating is like government of the minority.
Let me hold you a bit to bring in Judge. Judge has called in from Ikeja. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Nifemi, and greetings to your guest.
Good morning.
Before you went into live broadcast, I heard your guest say something about ex-party orders. He said, where we are those who are disagreeing with the way it's being done, when it was being recklessly done in the past. That's the way I understood his statement. The fact that something wrong has been done in the past doesn't justify its continuity. At one point or the other, what is wrong needs to be corrected. I think we should be current in making things right. If the Chief Justice has justification to now say, look, the way and manner these ex-party motions are being dished out is wrong, let us correct it. He also said that the judges or chief judges have the freedom to do their work unhindered. Yes, that is true. But they also have a duty to do the work in the right way. That is why there is a supervisory channel when the true path is not being followed, that supervisory channel will have to come to play. So I don't think it is wrong for the Chief Justice to see that something is going wrong in the system and it devises a means to correct it. If you permit me, I would also like to say something about insecurity. The gentleman before you is a known activist. The way insecurity is building in Nigeria, it seems to have gone out of control. I expected somebody like him and his allies to have even gone to the streets or organize people to protest against the way the insecurity in the country is being handled. I have not seen that. We should not just sit down and be criticizing without doing something. When you criticize a concept or an idea, you have to offer a solution or alternative way to solve it, not just talking about it. That's my view.
Well, thank you, Judge, for your contribution. If you had given us enough time, we're going to get to the solution part. But someone is really coming at you. Particularly as regards the CDN issue, I don't think you agreed that the way and manner the ex parte motion, orders were being used were completely right.
No, if it was not used judicially and judiciously, it will show. Based on the facts of each case.
That's right.
You understand? It is good the CJN is intervening. The other may believe something was wrong. Even being the beneficiary of ex parte order too, it is good that he also knows. I think he should know what to do in that situation. So, he's doing his job, and judges are also doing their job. And judges are Nigerians too, just like the CJN. They know what is going on. They know that even as we talk, government is still abusing ex parte order. Government agencies, the police, the EFCC, they apply ex parte to detain people. Go to the EFCC cells. You see people there with ex parte orders. I did a matter recently in which they got an ex parte order of a magistrate to detain people for a longer period than the Constitution permits.
We'll get to the issue of insecurity later on in the course of the program. But earlier on you mentioned that voter apathy is a product of people's experience of the interruption of the electoral system by politicians.
Yes.
But then, how can that be fixed if people do not come out because they had already assumed that their votes will not count? Then nothing will change.
I think the voter apathy is actually a protest. It's a protest, a peaceful, silent protest against the system. People are no longer satisfied with the system.
But see where it has brought us. So,
yes, of course.
Things are like going to get from bad to worse if people don't come out.
Yes, it has implications. That's why one would have expected people in government to notice that and to be worried about that. But they are not worried. Look at the number of members of political parties. Go and get the register of political parties. Look at their numbers. At least you will expect members of political parties to come out and vote. But at the end, look at the total number of votes that even enable their candidates to get into offices and compare with it. It means that even members of the political parties are not coming out to vote. It means something is terribly wrong. We expect the government to look into that. It's like to do an X-ray on itself. What is it that we are not doing well? What are the expectations of our people that we have not met? How can we encourage them to come out? It's not just about going to television and say, we encourage all of you to come out and vote. Get the imams and the pastors, tell your members to come out and vote. You cannot force them. They will now sit down at home and say, the one we did last time, what did it bring for us? They are still paying their security men on their streets. They are still repairing their roads, the roads of their streets, education, health, security or insecurity, and everything around them. It would enable them to decide whether it's necessary to go and vote. But ordinarily, we would just want to encourage people to say, whatever it is, try and go and vote again. You know, it's like presently that is the way of changing the government.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And nothing is likely going to change if people sit back at home.
Yes, if people sit back at home. And the government should also look inwards and also do the right thing.
I'd like us to consider some of the factors that have become pronounced now as we count down to 2023. The issue of religion and regionalism has again come to fore, popularized by groups seeking self-determination. I recall in 2014 when that confab held, the president at that time mentioned that anything is on the table apart from dissolving the entity called Nigeria. One would have thought that if Nigeria has seen consecutive periods of election for over 20 years, that beyond agreeing that democracy has come to stay, we should also agree that this is an entity that shouldn't go separate ways. Is this a function of bad leadership, poor economy? I mean, the fact that people is this a protest against leadership, or people genuinely think that certain entities should go their different ways in Nigeria?
I think it's a realization of the truth about Nigeria itself. Recently, you see, what has not been done before is now being done. People are now going back into the archives to look at the foundation of Nigeria. Some people have said Nigeria has expired based on the document that established Nigeria, And some people are saying, no, having expired then, why are we still here? Some people are saying, okay, Nigerians came together and agreed on how they want to live together in a regional system where different parts of the country are semi-autonomous and they'll be moving at their own pace and develop at their own pace until the military came and destroyed that foundation. Having destroyed that foundation, then there is no basis for continuing, because what is still being sustained is the imposition by the military. And some people are now saying, no. What the military left for us, we have to remove it and return to the original agreement on how we wanted to live together.
How feasible are some of these ideas, given the current system that we run? Because there are other, obtainable solutions to restructuring, like what we've seen with Rivers and Lagos State going to court about receiving their own VAT. There's the issue of community policing. Just yesterday, the police boss did mention that the new recruits into the police force will now operate at their own local governments. That sounds like a more reasonable approach to restructuring this country than saying, oh, let everybody go their separate ways.
Do you know that there is nothing in the existing legal framework disallowing the police from posting people to their localities? Why have they refused to do it? The powers that be.
They're doing it now.
They are just doing it. Okay, it's good. But it is not covering the entire police. It's a new recruits. So what happened? Why not let the entire police force reflect that? Why not go back to your locality where you know the terrain, they know you, you know them, so you won't even violate their rights because they know your family and everything. You balance the way you do your work, and your work will be made easier because your people will rise up to assist you to do your work. They have not been doing that deliberately. So it's part of the problem. The Constitution did not say they should do it. The law did not say they should not do it. So then it is left open. Why not put it in the law? For instance, the indigenes of a particular state shall police that state themselves. That's why you have commissioner being posted to Lagos from Maiduguri. Somebody who doesn't know the terrain here will come here and preside over the security network, security system. That's why it's not yielding desired result. And to restructuring, people clamoring for it. They have their reasons. It's not a question of saying state police, and then tomorrow community policing, and then tomorrow VAT, tomorrow stamp duty. Must you go to court for everything? They are saying even the Constitution itself, it's not an agreement. And that Constitution, why not allowing the nationalities in Nigeria to come together and agree? And some people are saying it's too late. It's never too late. When the same thing is the root of all the problems, on and on, reason dictates that we go back and then resolve that problem.
But there's an ongoing constitution review at the National Assembly.
The National Assembly is a product of that constitution, which is a military decree, number 24 of 1999. It was imposed And it is being imposed on Nigeria. It is being sustained by force.
Are you saying that lawmakers do not have the capacity to review this document?
They cannot alter that constitution.
Who now dissolves the law? Because as we speak now, they are the law.
For instance, recently there is clamor that we don't need bicameral legislature. We don't need the we don't need the House of Reps and the Senate at the same time, because it's a waste of resources. Now, do you expect the National Assembly to legislate, to amend that constitution and remove the Senate?
Exactly.
They will never do it. 350. Give us a list. It is countable. The current constitution that we operate has a list of 774 local governments. So if you can list over 700 local governments, why can't you list 300, 350 nationalities? Then those nationalities, they have their domain. They are based on lands where they occupy. Their forefathers have been occupying those lands before. It's all right. They identify them. They have their rulers, their leaders. Then let them meet. Let them select, appoint their own representatives. Let them meet with others, their neighbors. They know themselves. We want to continue together. We are believing in harmony. What are the one beyond? Before you know it, you cover the whole of Nigeria. Okay, let us put it together in a document. We agree to live together. If any portion or any part of any nationality says, sorry, we are no longer interested in saying Nigeria, they have a right. So even to say that
right
Nigeria...
Under which law? Under
which law? Look, there is always a system in place. Right now, the ground norm is the Nigerian Constitution. When the military take over, when they plan their coup and they take over governments, under which law do they do it?
Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is that
you see,
you are talking about, you're putting this responsibility on a leadership.
Yes.
A leadership that emerged from this system. So
yes.
Imagine a president emerges and then does what you have recommended. How does he implement it?
It has been done before.
Is he going to conduct a coup against himself?
No, it has been done before.
Okay.
Jonathan did it. He set up the
national confab.
Yes, national confab. And they did a big work. And they submitted it. The law has a way to ensure that there is smooth transition.
Why do it again if it has been done? Should we not be clamoring for an implementation of what
implementation after 6 years of the present government? It's too late to begin to implement.
You're saying we have to do it all over again?
Well, not my fault. It's the fault of the current president, current government. There's something they could have done. But this idea that whatever the past government has done, no, we have nothing to do with it. But why? Well, I think they believe Nigeria should just remain as it is. That's why they are not interested in whatever suggestion has been made by the confab. If they are interested in tweaking Nigeria, even that section 2 of the constitution that says Nigeria is an indissoluble country. I mean, it's like you are giving people only one route out of Nigeria. To say anybody who is not satisfied must have to take up arms. That's what you are doing. There is nothing that cannot be negotiated. Why not allow dialogue? Why not give a leeway? Whoever is not interested must cover minimum of 5 states or 4 states, or a group of people coming together. There must be a referendum so that people in that place can signify truly they don't want to be part of Nigeria again.
There's no provision for referendum in our country.
There's no provision. And that's why so many people are clamoring. Let us express whether we want to continue with Nigeria or not. There should be a way to allow people to say that. Otherwise, you are actually railroading them into slavery. You are saying they cannot
that we'll be having this conversation if, for instance, we have a buoyant economy and the unemployment rate is not as high as it is, a situation where the land is flowing with milk and honey.
Yes.
Do you think we'll be bothered about whether there are different nationalities and some people will come out and say we want to go our separate ways?
We used to have a buoyant economy before the military came. Very buoyant economies in Nigeria. You have the western region with their economy. We have the eastern region with their economy. We have the northern region with their economy, and they are all doing fine until the military came. So what is this? What is so difficult in reversing all that the military did? It is not difficult. Not difficult at all. It's a question of law. You know?
Yes.
So it is possible. When people, you see, you mentioned education just now. Formally, you see a part of Nigeria investing immensely in education, educating their children, sending them to school. Everybody must be educated. The other parts didn't see anything pressing in that. They prefer to wait. But now what is happening? With the level of unemployment in our country, which part of Nigeria is suffering most? The part of Nigeria that invested in education. They are the ones suffering. They are now being made to suffer.
What data?
You see their children running out of the country.
What data are you using right now?
Yeah, the data, go to the National Bureau of Statistics.
Bureau of Statistics.
Yes,
okay.
You have everything, state by state, the level of unemployment. Then look at region by region. Then you see it. Which part of Nigeria produces most of the graduates we have in Nigeria? It's very simple now. So they, of course, they are part of the country. We suffer unemployment more than the other part of the country that does not give maybe more priority to education in the past.
Let us return to the system as we have it and as we know
as it is.
And as it's likely to continue, as it's likely to continue in the next years, you know, the foreseeable future. What kind of leader do you think Nigeria needs in 2023?
Nigeria needs, subject to the power, the almighty political party's power, to impose their choice on the rest of us. Subject to that, I think Nigeria needs a leader who knows Nigeria very well. In Nigeria, who knows the history, not just of Nigeria, of the nationalities in Nigeria, the different nationalities. A leader who knows that it is necessary, who knows that there is a root cause of all these problems in Nigeria.
Okay.
A leader who knows that there is need to go to that root cause and resolve it. Number one, you have to acknowledge and recognize all these nationalities. The Constitution doesn't recognize them.
Let me hold you just for a minute. Please hold that thought. Let me give Nigerians in diaspora watching this show the phone number to call in case you're interested in contributing. You use the nation's code. It's +234 902 416 3440. So it's 902 416 3440. One more time, 902 416 3440. Of course, remember to use the code +234. You were talking about the Nigerian.
Yes, that the leader who will understand, who must first know that he has to recognize these nationalities. Give them recognition. Let them know that they exist. What we have presently is a constitution that does not recognize their existence. Go through the whole of the constitution. You will only find Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo language. It is the language, not the people. They are not recognized. We have over 300 nationalities in Nigeria. So why not give them recognition that truly we acknowledge you as the owners of the land, of the space where Nigeria occupies. They will be so happy that they have been recognized. Then they will want to do something to ensure the success of their relationship with others. That's the first thing to do. I expect the leader to also be able to communicate with all these nationalities and encourage them, demonstrate the reason why they should come together and work together and actually facilitate their coming together to agree. I mentioned that word agreement deliberately. Instead of this imposition, they have to be made to agree on how and if they want to live together and how they will live together. It can be done. Within 2 years, it can be done.
Would it matter?
So that leader, if that leader is committed to it, it can be done. For instance, you come in your first tenure, first year, set up your commission, give them a deadline of 2 years, so that by the third year, you already talking about a constituent assembly or conduct a referendum all over the Nigeria. A law will be made to enable Nigerians to do a referendum. Can be made. And by the fourth year, They are already preparing for the elections. You understand? Then they will set up the necessary structures as agreed upon.
You are saying creating a non-violent alternative.
Non-violent
to
yes.
people who are seeking self-determination.
Yes.
But would it matter what part of the country this leader comes from?
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying in 2023.
It doesn't matter. What matters is that the candidates must be well educated. We have gone beyond the 1999 Constitution, which prescribed primary 6.
I mean,
it's not on. Let's just.
You are not even likely going to have my job with a primary 6 certificate.
Yes. So let's tell the truth. We don't want any primary school start holder. Minimum should be first degree for anybody aspiring to be the president of Nigeria. And you must be a professional who has worked, and you have something to show for it. And you must have a visible means of livelihood that people can say, yeah, you got it to the peak of your career.
Let me hold you for another minute. Yeah. We have a caller from the United Kingdom. Hello, Tony.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to heard your guest saying something about the recognition of nationalities in Nigeria. How would that work? Because what is happening in Ethiopia is as a result of such recognition. We are a one nation or nation state who say they occupy a particular part of the nation, and if push comes to shove, they don't allow any other person to interfere. So that will create chaos. That is why I don't accept its option of recognizing nation states as owning land in the country to be reflected in the Constitution. That's my disagreement with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for your contribution. I think it's corroborating your call for identifying with nationalities. But Studio, you have to help us with the volume of the feedback here. We're struggling hearing him. Let's talk about what they now call the gentleman agreement. Yes. Within the political parties, because Nigerians will still have to rely on them in 2023. There's this unwritten agreement that a section of the country will rule for a particular number of terms, and then it should automatically shift to the other. How do you see that play out in 2023, given what the polity looks like today?
You see, that is an agreement within the political parties. It's only binding on them, not binding on the rest of us who are not members. So I really don't want to place my hope on something that is not part of the system, the legal system. There is no law in existence that has made provision for it. You understand? So the criteria...
Should there be a law? Because also there's this issue of federal character already.
Yes.
It became a challenge for this administration at some point when people started saying that majority of the appointment was coming from a particular side. Many Nigerians reacted. So if Nigerians are concerned about that, they might as well be concerned about having the leadership go round.
Do you know that is the history of that federal character principle you are talking about? They wanted a situation where people will not be appointed on merit, because majority of those who are qualified, who are well-read, who are educated, who are experts, they are coming from the section of the country that have invested so much in the training of such people. So in order to enable their own people who are not as trained to also have space in to occupy national office, they came up with that federal character principle. It's part of the problem why we are where we are now.
Hold that thought. Olu has called in from the UK. Hello, Olu. Did we lose that call? All right, Olu, please try again. So you're saying that federal character is born out of, what happens to be a lopsidedness in the quality of education that...
in appointments.
Yes, in appointments.
Yes.
But in a country as large as Nigeria, there are many who would say, well, what is most important at this time?
Merit.
Is merit. Getting the person who can do the job. But on the contrary, there are some who would say, there is also honesty in the fact that you can get meritocracy in every region of the country.
Okay.
Isn't that as well as accurate?
Well, the federal character principle has not resolved that problem because there is nothing guaranteeing that those who merit it will come up from those parts of Nigeria. What we have been seeing is political consideration. Your political connection determines where you will get to, which appointment you have, and so on. We have so many people heading agencies of federal government who are not competent. They are still there, and Nigeria is wobbling.
But the point I'm trying to make is that you can get competent Nigerians from every part of the country.
We can get, that means we don't need the federal character principle again. Let's remove it from our laws and allow meritocracy.
We can and allow people emerge via meritocracy.
Yes.
Let's take Okorafor's call from Arochukwu in Abia State.
Good morning, Mr. Nifemi. Good morning, our brother of the studio.
Good morning.
They say the major problem, not only Nigeria as a country, the state of a nation, African continent, what we are facing today is a very bad scenario. That's a very bad seed which the colonial masters dropped in Africa. Let me give you a then I come back to Nigeria. You see what's happening in Chad, Niger, and Guinea, the French colony. What is happening? Because they have seen the raw materials they are tapping from that place. The president of France dictates for the president of them. They don't even care about the masses. That's what's happening. And you come back to Nigeria. Nigeria today, in as much as we have different tribes, they are our own history. They told us Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. Now we now have Akudan. What do we do? If the equity, what I mean by equity, they seize geopolitical zones, the equity are being, that's what we have, the national resources or the federal characteristics are being distributed, as our guests have been just saying. Nobody will be being marginalized, no agitation from one place to another one. Now let's go back to the East. You know, after the Civil War, they gave us with 3R. The 3R, what happened? Everything have gone to Cola, or would I say they have just straight under the carpet. Nothing is functioning. Now we come back to to the West. You see what's happening about infiltration. You come back to the North, we are having about crisis. And the crisis, if you check very well, kidnapping was going on in the East before everything just spread. Come down to this place, then and then, after that, everything within this system. Now what do we do? The way forward is only left for the country to go back to the.
Oh, I think we lost that call. Okorafor, thank you so much for your contribution. I think again, it's talking about the need to heal certain wounds, you know, that have pervaded in the nation for quite a number of years. But I appreciate your thoughts as regards meritocracy. However, there's still this call for equity or equality, so to speak. For instance, there's this gender equality, a situation where you're most likely going to find more men than women in certain industries. And if you do not, you know, attempt to intentionally create a space for the other gender, they may never get to emerge into the position of leadership.
You see, it depends on the value of the different parts of the country. We have different nations within Nigeria. Some, in their culture, they don't believe women should occupy positions of leadership.
That should change. Shouldn't that culture
Well, you are
change?
not going to force it on them.
With education.
Education, yes,
change.
and they are the ones who can educate themselves.
But
you can't compare them.
Nigeria, for instance, we can't say that a region should develop at its own pace when it is a part of the country, because that might also be a problem. If we are looking at development on the regional basis, it will still affect us like it is affecting the other regions now.
Okay.
So if we look at it as, it's their problem, it's their culture that's not allowing them to get educated, then we're going to have the issue of terrorism, of banditry, which will affect the economy of the whole nation.
That is actually part of the problem. It's already affecting. What is happening in a part of the country is affecting other parts of the country. A good manager will not allow such a thing. You will immediately box that problem on that part where it is and resolve it there. You won't allow a spillover to other parts of the country. But the system we're operating in Nigeria is saying if there is a problem somewhere, it should be everybody's problem. It's not done in modern governance. When you know there is a problem coming somewhere, you immediately box it there. Now, what we have in Nigeria presently is actually maybe a child's play, what we're experiencing. Because look at the issue of just as little as it appears, the issue of VAT. We are consuming here, other people are spending the money. They are sharing in the money of what they are not consuming. That's not equity. That's not fair. You understand? But it is part of the law being operated. So, who is going to tweak that one?
They're in court now.
Yeah, they are in court. Everything must go to court. It is something that ought to be agreed upon from the beginning. But because the military imposed it, we are under it now. So, when you have a situation where the entire country is in problem just because the military decided to dilute Nigeria, must we continue to bear or wallow under that burden that the military imposed on us? The states were not created by the agreement of the people. Local governments were not created by the agreement of the people. What they agreed upon was regions. And when you had regions, it was easy. We didn't have most of the problem we're having now. I lived under the regions. I was born then. You understand? We didn't have all these problems. But the problem you have is part of the problem of using states and having local governments without the agreement of those people. Allow different nations to exist. Why force them? Why force will not always work? You understand? Force will not always work.
We're running up now. Let's talk about the role of the people in all of this, because the alternative that many have taken is to relocate.
Yes.
And there are many middle class, I mean, people who relocate to Canada are not necessarily poor people.
No.
I mean, there are people who are doing well, who perhaps will still have more to contribute.
Why are they relocating?
Of course, for obvious reasons.
What are these obvious? It's not obvious to so many people.
No, for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. You know, the issue of insecurity, economy, and the rest.
Yes.
But the truth is also that all of us cannot relocate.
Yes.
There are about 200 million and more people in Nigeria. I mean, I don't think the world is that large enough to empty every Nigerian citizen into.
You'll be shocked. The world is prepared to come and even carry those our youths who are well educated, well trained, to go and assist them to develop their country. They are not investing into education again. A country has invested in that education, they will go and begin to repeat. That's what's going on. You hear of visa lottery, you hear of easy migration.
Okay.
They deliberately put those policies in place.
I agree with you.
To extract.
But the point I'm trying to make as we round off now is there must be a role for the patriotic Nigerian. I mean, there must be something we can do from bottom up. I know they say everything rises and falls on leadership. I understand that. But there's also the voice of the people, which they say is the voice of God.
Yeah, the people have always been talking. Me, I'm talking to you. Go to the street, people
Maybe
are talking.
we should start doing more than talking.
No, go and enter Danfo. Park your car. Deliberately enter Danfo one of the days. We hear people talking. People talk every day on the streets, in the market. They know what is going on, and they are groaning. They are expressing themselves. They want something done, but they are not the ones in government. They want the leaders to do something. I think it's high time we have a leader without a baggage, a leader with integrity, who knows, who can be trusted by the people to come and lead this process. The people cannot lead the process to solving these problems. They didn't lead the process that brought the problems.
I must say a big thank you, lawyer, human activist, former president, CDHR, and current president.
Center for the Rule of Law.
Center for the Rule of Law. Thank you so much for your contribution on the program.
Thanks so much.
I will continue the coverage of the Southern Governors meeting in Enugu. I will bring you live pictures from that live coverage. And thank you so much for being a part of the program today. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again soon.